It is the Heat's run for the ring, and it is back here in South Florida. Whomever wins the next game in the Eastern Conference Finals will head to the NBA Finals and face off against the San Antonio Spurs. Our team coverage of the Miami Heat continues now. The final game of the Eastern Conference Finals will be happening at the AAA in downtown Miami, and that's where we find CBS 4's Maggie Newland with the latest on tickets. Maggie?
Well, Brian, it's a pretty quiet afternoon.
And new information tonight on the severe weather outbreak in Oklahoma. 10 people were killed in Friday's twisters, including 3 storm chasers and 2 children. Oklahoma Governor Mary Fallin says emergency workers are still searching disaster areas for missing residents. The exact number of missing is still unknown. There are more than 90 people who were injured in Friday's tornado outbreak.
We wish them a quicker recovery than it's going so far. The bad weather right here in South Florida doesn't seem to be quitting. We had all that flooding yesterday and a lot of serious downpours today.
Let's get you over to the Weather Center and CBS 4 meteorologist Jeff Berrielli. Jeff, what's going on?
Well, we have a lot more rain where that came from.
Sports anchor Ken Bokamper stops by the set just after the break with what went wrong in last night's game. The news continues.
We just found out that Roy Hibbert was fined $75,000 for his comments that he made yesterday after the game.
Wow, reason to keep your mouth shut.
That's it.
Or engage the brain before you engage.
Think before you speak.
Be sure to send your digital images of news and weather as it happens to us. The email address is pics@cbsmiami.com. You could see them on our next newscast.
That's going to do it for CBS 4 News at 6:30. 60 Minutes is next.
You're on Twitter, right?
I'm on Twitter. You on Twitter?
Yeah, what are you?
CBS, since you're CBS 4.
I'm Brian Andrews. We'll see you at 11. I'm Brian Andrews in for Elliott. CBS 4 News at 5 o'clock starts right now.
From Miami-Dade.
We are dealing with less than perfect weather because of this blob on the radar. A tropical disturbance in the Gulf. It's one the National Hurricane Center is checking out right now. Now to the doping scandal that has rocked Major League Baseball. CBS News is reporting Major League Baseball is questioning as many as 25 players suspected of receiving performance-enhancing drugs from a Coral Gables clinic. Some of the players which could be suspended include Yankee superstar Alex Rodriguez and Brewers slugger Ryan Braun, who used to play at the University of Miami. The two are reportedly connected to Tony Bosch, the founder of Biogenesis of America. He's reportedly cooperating with Major League Baseball and will tell them everything he knows.
I've dealt with it off and on for the last year and a half, I guess. So, I think I'm pretty good at avoiding distractions.
It is not known when the suspensions will be handed down. CBS 4's David Sutta is working this story for new details, and you'll be able to see his report tonight at 6 here on CBS 4 News. Broward Sheriff's deputies want your help tonight in finding a driver who struck and killed a man in Dania Beach this morning and just kept on going. CBS 4's Gary Nelson with more now on this deadly hit and run and the man who died. New details right now on the arrests of 3 Miami-Dade County employees. Prosecutors have implicated in a scheme to steal more than $6 million in public funds. Today, the trio appeared in Miami-Dade bond court. Jesus J. Pons, his wife Diana, and brother-in-law Bruno Diaz. Their bond amount has not been changed, and at last check, they had not yet posted bond. Pons and Diaz worked for the county's General Services Administration until they were fired last year for nepotism. A county contractor blew the whistle on their alleged fraud involving ghost employees, fabricated overtime, and inflated billing. Meantime, the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office is now saying it mistakenly identified Jay Pons as an employee of the school board. In its news conference yesterday, State Attorney Catherine Fernandez-Rundle had made that declaration while addressing the media about details of the Pons case. The state attorney's office now says a review by Miami-Dade County Schools shows that Pons was never an employee of the district, and the office has apologized for making the error.
But her son is a financial advisor, so that'll come in handy, I think.
Yeah, and mom's going to say, all right, so how should we spend these hundreds of millions of dollars?
Imagine, that's a lot of money. Wow.
Well, it must be nice.
Yeah.
Nice things happen to nice people. Still to come tonight, the feds have requested a major car manufacturer recall millions of cars.
So why are they refusing? Find out in about 15 minutes.
Plus, a building collapses in Philadelphia, trapping people under heavy debris. We will have the latest on the rescue effort next. And do you remember this pelican rescued from a tree last month? Our Gary Nelson did the story. Well, it's taken a big step in its recovery from this traumatic incident, and we'll have that story all new on CBS 4 News at 5:30. Welcome back to the 5 o'clock news. A chaotic scene in Philadelphia today when a building that was being demolished collapsed. At least one person is dead, 13 others injured in this collapse. Crews and witnesses working frantically to rescue people who were trapped beneath the heavy chunks of rubble.
We went over to the building. We said, you know, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Say something. And we tried to find the people. Personally, I helped pull out too.
It took firefighters hours to reach some of the victims. The building collapsed this morning onto an adjacent Salvation Army thrift store, trapping people who were inside. Crews are working to stabilize what's left of the Salvation Army store so they can get to the basement to finish their search. Miami police officers on bicycles sporting short, close-shaved haircuts dyed in red heading to Key West right now in honor of Bella Rodriguez Torres. Bella, who was 10, lost her 6-year battle with cancer last week. Her story and determination touched thousands of lives. Bella had a special relationship with the Miami Police Department. They even named her honorary police chief for a day. The officers unloaded their bicycles and set off for the 2-day, more than 160-mile journey to Key West. All of the riders shaved their heads, many dyeing their heads red, which was Bella's favorite color.
This is very special to see our bravest citizens do something of this magnitude to benefit children with cancer in Bella's memory is something very special for our family, but it's also very special for the community.
Miami officers also raised more than $80,000 so far for childhood cancer research. If you would like to donate, visit their website at www.bella2013.com.
$80,000, that is just terrific.
Remarkable. Toyota is recalling about 250,000 of its Prius and Lexus hybrid vehicles due to a problem with their braking systems. The recall applies to about 233,000 Prius vehicles made between March and October of 2009 and roughly 9,000 Lexus HS250H models made between June and October of 2009. The automaker says brake pressure parts in the vehicles are made of weak material that could crack due to vibration, slowing response times. Toyota says there have been no accidents or injuries reported so far. Tonight, an elderly man is recovering after accidentally driving his car into a canal. Let's take a look now at how that car ended up. Fort Lauderdale police say the 66-year-old hit the gas pedal instead of the brake, sending him right into the canal this morning. The driver was able to get out of the car, and a Good Samaritan helped him get out of the water. The driver was taken to Broward General Hospital to be checked out. A woman from Maryland is facing charges for causing a disturbance during a flight to Fort Lauderdale. Heather Dykeman went before a Broward County judge today. Prosecutors say she had too much to drink on the flight from Baltimore, then started going up and down the aisles, cursing and screaming racial slurs. Turns out Heather was on her way to South Florida to start a 30-day rehab program. Still to come tonight, game show gaffe.
Oh yeah, how an appearance on The Price is Right ended up costing a woman workman's comp big next.
Also, he is a shoplifter that targeted something most would never think of stealing. What it was is coming up. The spin of a wheel incriminates a North Carolina woman receiving workers' compensation. Investigators are now questioning Kathy Cashwell's workers' comp claim after she appeared on The Price is Right. Cashwell claimed that an on-the-job injury in 2004 prevented her from lifting mail trays into a truck. But in her 2009 appearance on the show, Cashwell used those same arms to spin the big wheel not once but twice. Private investigator Allison Blackman says workers' comp fraud is not uncommon in North Carolina.
There's a lot of people out there that are not hurt that are drawing workers' comp.
Investigators say they also found photos of Cashwell ziplining, lifting, and carrying furniture. Cashwell pleaded guilty to fraud in federal court on Monday. You might say, no, not me. I would never fall asleep behind the wheel while driving. But it does happen, and it can have deadly consequences. CBS 4's Vanessa Bors reports on how sleep-deprived drivers can be just as dangerous as drunk drivers. Some of the biggest names in baseball are being named, and the founder of the clinic, which is now closed, has reportedly agreed to cooperate with a Major League Baseball investigation.
CBS 4's David Sutta has all the details.
The Miami Heat need just 4 more wins in their run for the ring. A live look now at the American Airlines Arena, where Game 1 of the NBA Finals is just 1 day away. Both the Heat and the San Antonio Spurs hit the practice court at the AAA today. Former Hialeah Mayor Julio Rovina and his wife were back in federal court today. The couple faced tax evasion charges. They told the judge that they want one attorney to represent both of them. It's a decision federal prosecutors oppose, saying it could pose a problem if, for example, one spouse wants to testify and the other does not. Federal Judge Jonathan Goodman said he would consider both sides and enter a ruling within a month. A federal grand jury indicted Robina and his wife last month on charges of failing to report receiving cash payments on loans. Still ahead tonight on the 6 o'clock news, store targeted. Police have 2 men in custody after a violent armed robbery at a Cell store in Deerfield Beach. We're live with who police are looking for. All new at 6 o'clock tonight, deputies in Deerfield Beach have 2 people in custody charged with a violent robbery at an AT&T store. And that wasn't the only cell phone store hit. Robbers broke into another store last night along Northwest 7th Street in Miami. They got in through the glass front door. We're told they took about $6,000 in merchandise.